Hello hobby hobbits, in this one we're going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to paint a bust. Special thanks to Andy at Momentous Maps for supplying the bust, and a bit more on him a bit later on. First I primed the model in Chaos Black and then gave it 2 zenithal hits from above, one in a brown and then one an extreme highlight in white. This gives us a good base for a warmer tone in the paint job. With this model being mostly skin, I wanted a warmer skin tone to start with. A straight black and white zenithal would work, but it might come over cold once we start applying paint. I want to start with the skin as it's the largest part of the model. I'm going to do my orc in green, but you can do your orc in any colour you like. I'm doing it in green because reasons. I'm using Absolution Green by Speed Paint over the skin to tint the zenithal green, which will help later on, so they'll help me see the highlights, where they need to go and where the shadows are. Once done, you can see the shadows and highlights a lot easier. Well, I can at least. So as we add layers now, we need to keep the shadows dark and the raised parts brighter. For the layers, I'm going to put 4 colours down on my palette. Brown to shade, which is GW Dryad Bark, a mid-tone green, which is Vallejo Dark Green, a highlight tone, which is GW Moot Green, and an off-white to mix into the greens to highlight even more. Never use pure white, especially on an organic material, as it can look cold and dead, unless you're going for that. Use an off-white or tan. In this one, I am using Screaming Skull. I start by shading the dark areas with a mix of brown and the mid-tone green, painting the recesses and then building up the highlights by adding the highlight tone to the mid-tone, adding more and more until I'm happy with the transition. I use wet blending in this process to get a smooth blend. Don't be intimidated by this technique. It's really easy, and with a bit of practice it can be really quick, and I find it fun to do. I'm now going to block in the eyes and mouth in red, and I'd like to take a minute now just to thank Andy at Momentous Maps for helping making this video possible. Momentous Maps make insanely detailed tile sets that form a dynamic modular dungeon system. Direhold is a complete set of tiles that you can download and print. They make a series of construction kits designed to help make the creation of roleplay adventures a quick and easy process. It's ideal for both the new games master designing his first adventure, or a more experienced GM who wants to create an original adventure in a short amount of time. I'm blown away by the details included in these tiles, and if you follow the link below, there's some free ones to try. This video is not sponsored at all, but I want to give a shout out to Andy and Momentous Maps, who very kindly 3D printed me this miniature to paint for your enjoyment. Now back to the orc. Now blocking in the colours on the other items, the hair with dried bark, then highlighted with a 50-50 mix of my off-white colour. The areas I'm going to make bone and gold, I'm based in Mornfang brown. And then the skull on the base I'm going to quickly wet blend in Screaming Skull. For the gold, I'm using Retributor armour. For the cloth, I'm going to dry brush using Liquitex White. It's really full of pigments, so it dry brushes really well. I'm then going to use the thinned down Null oil to wash the recesses of the cloths and anywhere else that I think needs a bit more shadow. I then use dark wood by speed paint to shade the gold and paint the rope around his waist. Once I highlight this with a mix of dark wood and an off-white colour, that's my first bust done.